Ifunanya was just a little girl when everything changed. Her voice used to be full of laughter, her eyes were full of light. But one terrible day at the farm, her whole family was taken from her. Her father, her mother, and her big brother, all gone. Nobody knew what happened. People only whispered. Some said they saw strange footprints, others said it was a curse. But no one ever found out the truth. Only one thing was certain: Ifunanya survived. That should have been a blessing, but in the village of Ozala, it became her curse. People called her names. Evil child, they said. She brought death to her own family. No one played with her. No one greeted her. No one sold anything to her or brought anything from her. If she entered the village market, the women would hiss and walk away. Some would even spit on the ground. So Ifunanya lived alone at the very edge of the village, where the trees whispered and the wind sang. She found a small piece of land. She grew yams and vegetable with her own hands. She didn't complain. She had no one to talk to. But she didn't cry anymore. Her heart had learned to be quiet. To sell her crops and buy the few things she needed, Ifunanya walked far to other villages. She would carry a basket on her head and walk for hours under the hot sun. The path was rough and full of stones, but she never stopped. She was strong. One day, dark clouds gathered as she walked on the lonely road. The rain came suddenly, heavy and cold. There was no shelter, no tree to hide under. Her clothes became wet. Her basket of vegetables grew heavy. Still, she kept walking. Then something made her stop. In the middle of the road, right in front of her, barefoot, was a small fish. It was flipping and twisting, gasping for air. It must have been swept out of a stream by the rain. The fish was dying. Ifunanya knelt on the muddy ground and looked at it. "Oh, poor thing," she whispered. "You are just like me, alone. Nobody to help you." "But I will help you," she said. She picked it up gently in her hands, careful not to hurt it. The fish's body was cool and wet. As she stood up, she looked around, and to her surprise, she saw a small river nearby. She blinked. She had walked this road many times, and never once had she seen a river there. She walked to it, her feet splashing in the puddles, her basket forgotten. When she got to the edge of the river, she bent and placed the fish gently into the water. "Swim," she said. "You are free now." The fish flicked its tail and vanished into the water. Ifunanya watched for a moment, a small smile forming on her lips, the first real smile in a long while. Then she turned and left. But she didn't see the old woman, who now stood at the very spot where she had found the fish. The old woman's eyes sparkled like the stars, and a warm smile spread across her wrinkled face as she watched Ifunanya walk away. Back in Ozala, the village was full of fear. Their king sat high on his throne, cold and cruel. He did not care about the people. He did not care if they were hungry or sick or dying. He only cared about power. But worse than the king was his son, the prince. The prince was handsome on the outside, but his heart was dark. He walked the village proudly, wearing gold rings and holding a long horse whip. He forced young maidens to come with him. If they refused, he beat them and locked them away. The people cried. They went to the king. "Your son is hurting our daughters," they pleaded. But the king only laughed and said, "The prince has every right to any maiden in this land. He will do with them whatever he pleases." And so, fear lived in every heart in Ozala. That night, Ifunanya returned to her little hut at the edge of the forest. She lit a small fire, roasted some yam, and ate quietly. Outside, the rain kept falling, but she didn't mind. Something in her heart felt warm for the first time in many years. She didn't know why. She went to bed early, wrapping herself in a thin cloth. The roof leaked in 2 places, but she was used to it. She listened to the soft drip of the water and slowly drifted off to sleep. That night she dreamed. She found herself standing at the same river where she had saved the fish, but now the river shimmered like silver under the moonlight. The trees whispered her name, "Ifunanya, Ifunanya." Fireflies floated around her, lighting the dark like tiny stars. Then from the river a woman rose. Ifunanya stepped back in fear. "Do not be afraid," the woman said, her voice calm like a cool water. "You saved me today." I saved a fish," Ifunanya said, confused. The woman smiled. "Yes, that fish was me." Ifunanya's mouth opened in shock. "You? But how?" "I am Mirima, the river mother. A long time ago, I angered a wicked king as I warned him to change from his ways, and he cursed me. I have lived trapped in the form of a fish, waiting for someone with a kind heart, someone pure to set me free. Kindness does not ask for reward," the river mother said, "but the spirit sees all." She raised her hand. A bright light swirled around Ifunanya's feet and danced up her body. "Your life will change, child," Mirima said, "but it will not be easy. Darkness still rules your land. Pain still walks your village. But you, Ifunanya, you will be the only light." "I'm just a girl," Ifunanya said, her voice trembling. "No one likes me. No one even talks to me." "That is why you're chosen," the river mother said, stepping forward. "The ones rejected by the world are often the ones sent to save it. When the moon is full, return to the river." Ifunanya blinked and woke up. Her room was quiet. The fire had gone out. Her yam was cold. She sat up, her heart racing. Had it been a dream? Just her imagination? But when she looked at her hand, something shimmered, a tiny silver scale. The next day, the sun rose gently over Ozala, casting warm light upon the palace where King Okosisi and his wife sat in ease, enjoying roasted yam and seasoned beef. Laughter filled the royal chamber. The king's deep voice echoed as he joked with his queen, both of them smiling like there was no problem in the world. But suddenly the room fell silent. The air shifted. A figure appeared at the entrance, tall, silent and ancient. It was the chief priest, Nkalago. The king froze, a piece of yam hanging from his fingers. His eyes narrowed, a shadow crossing his face. It had been nearly 20 years. "To what do I owe this unexpected visit, wise one?" the king said slowly, his voice tight, masking the unease crawling up on his spine. "It's been what, 19 years? He said. Nkalago's eyes burned like fire. His voice came sharp and unshaken. "I bring the same message I delivered 20 years ago, King Okosisi," he said. "The gods have spoken once more. They have rejected your bloodline from ruling over Ozala. The prophecies still stand. Depart from the throne now." The king slammed his palm against the wooden table. Beef and yam scattered all over the floor. "Never!" he roared. "I buried that prophecy myself 20 years ago. I paid the price, made the offerings. It was finished," he barked. But the chief priest stood firm, unmoved. His voice thundered with power. "That prophecy can never be averted. You may deceive men, Okosisi, but not the gods. They are patient and they are wise." And with that, Nkalagu vanished, disappearing into the thin air before the king's very eyes, leaving behind a heavy silence and the scent of burning incense. The queen trembled. The king's chest heaved as he paced the throne room like a trapped lion, fist clenched, vein pulsing with rage. Meanwhile, the prince, cruel and arrogant, roamed the village as he always did, terrorizing the helpless. That day, his eyes caught a beautiful young maiden fetching firewood near the square. He smirked and ordered his guards to seize her. "I want that one," he said, licking his lips. But the maiden resisted. "I am not yours," she cried, struggling to break free. The prince's face twisted with fury. "You dare defy me?" He ordered his guards to drag her before the crowd. The villagers watched in horror, too afraid to speak, too broken to resist. Mothers hid their daughters. Fathers turned their faces. No one had ever dared confront the priest, not once. Until that moment, a voice rang out clear, fierce and filled with fire. "Stop!" Gas filled the square. Ifunanya stepped forward, her eyes blazing. "How wicked and cruel can one man be?" she shouted. "Have you no shame? No empathy? These are your people, not animals. Why treat them with such evil?" The villagers gasped again. No one had ever spoken to the prince like that, not even the elders. A child, a girl, a cursed orphan, had just defied the throne. Ifunanya grabbed the maiden's hand and said, "Run! Don't look back." And the girl bolted, running as her legs hit her head while she ran. The prince's face darkened. He trembled with rage. "Seize that witch!" he screamed. The guards rushed her, overpowering her. "Take her to the square," the prince shouted. "Let everyone watch what happens to defiance." Before the entire village, they tied Ifunanya's hands, and there, under the blazing sun, the prince ordered them to flog her. Strike after strike, the whip tore through her back. Blood soaked the earth. She didn't scream. She didn't beg. She stared at the prince with burning eyes until her knees gave out and she collapsed. "Is she dead?" one guard asked. "She better be," the prince groaned. "Throw her into the forest. Let the spirits finish her." They dragged her limp body away and flogged her into the edge of the forbidden forest like a piece of garbage. The villagers watched with heavy hearts, but none dare step forward. They still fear her. They still believe the old story that she was cursed, that she had killed her family, that she brought death upon her home. No one noticed the sky shift. No one saw the wind stir the trees. But deep in the forest, someone was watching. The old woman appeared again. She walked to Ifunanya's broken body, knelt beside her, and gently gathered her into her arms. "Rest now, my child," she whispered. "Your true journey begins here." When Ifunanya opened her eyes again, her vision was blurry at first. She blinked, her lashes wet with tears and pain. The soft scent of herbs and river water filled her nose. Slowly, her sight cleared, and there, sitting beside her with a gentle smile, was the same old woman. Ifunanya gasped and tried to sit up. She looked down at her arms and her skin. There were no wounds, no scars, no blood. Her body had been completely healed. She touched her back, still remembering the sting of the prince's whip. But there was no pain, only smooth skin. You, she whispered, staring at the old woman. You healed me? The old man smiled kindly. Yes, my child, I found you in the forest. The spirit led me to you, as they always do. Who are you? Ifunanya asked softly. I am Mirima, the old woman said, spirit of the river, guardian of truth. And I have watched over you since the day your family fell. Ifunanya's breath caught. Because your journey is not yet over. In fact, it's only beginning. The old woman's voice grew firmer. Her eyes glowed faintly, as though stars were living inside them. You alone can free this land, Ifunanya, she said. You alone can break the curse of suffering placed upon Ozala by King Okosisi and his wicked son. Ifunanya's face twisted in pain. She looked away. No, I can't. Why should I help them? These people rejected me. They watched me suffer all my life and said nothing. They called me cursed. They spat when I walked by. They believe I killed my own family. Why should I fight for people who turned their back on me? Mirima nodded gently. I know, my child. You have every right to feel hurt. But listen to the truth you never knew. 20 years ago, Mirima began, a prophecy came from the gods through their servant, the chief priest in Kalago, that the kingship will be moved from the bloodline of King Okosisi, that the mantle of leadership has shifted to a new lineage, your lineage. Ifunanya's eyes widened in shock. Yes, Mirima said, your father was the chosen one, the true heir to the throne, anointed by the gods themselves. But Okosisi could not bear the thought of losing power, so he slaughtered your father in cold blood, then your mother, and then your brother. Ifunanya's lips trembled, her fingers gripped her wrapper tightly. You were a child, the old woman whispered. The gods shielded you from his blade. When he failed to kill you, he crafted a lie. He told the people that you were the evil that killed your family, and the people believed him. No! Ifunanya murmured, shaking her head, tears falling freely now. It was the king all along? He killed them all? Yes, Mirima said, reaching out to gently wipe her tears. The pain you have carried, the rejection, the shame, all of it were built on lies. Ifunanya broke down in sob, her chest heavy, her whole body trembling. My brothers, my parents, they all died for nothing. No, the old woman said gently, yet firmly. They died for something greater than even they knew. Their blood was the seed, and now you are the fruit. The time has come to reclaim what was stolen. She reached beside her and held out a long staff, carved from ancient sacred wood, with glowing symbols running down its side. It pours with warm and quiet power. This staff is the gift of the gods, Mirima said. You must go to the palace, to the very center of the compound. Strike this staff into the ground. The moment it touches the earth, all charms and dark powers protecting the king will break. He will be stripped bare before the people. He will confess to every crime he committed, not by force, but by divine truth. Ifunanya took the staff slowly, as though it weighed more than stone. She held it close, her eyes fixed on it. And what happened after that, she asked. The people will see, Mirima said. They will know the truth, and they will crown the rightful ruler, which is you. Ifunanya looked up, fresh tears in her eyes. not of sorrow now, but of strength rising from long hidden roots. "Why?" she whispered. "Why are you helping me?" Mirima's smile softened. "The gods do not choose the proud or the powerful. They choose the rejected, the forgotten, the humble. And because you chose to save a dying fish on the road that very day, when you yourself had nothing, that little act of kindness had proven your heart to the gods." The wind howled across the land of Ozala like a warning from the gods themselves. Thunder rumbled in the sky, then footsteps, soft, steady, but purposeful. Ifunanya walked towards the palace gate. She wore no crown, no gold, no royal robe, only a white wrapper tied tightly around her body, the same one Mirima had given her. Her feet were bare, her hair loose and wild, dancing in the wind like the mane of a lioness. In her right hand, she gripped the sacred staff tightly. The guards at the palace gate turned when they saw her. They blinked in disbelief. Is that not the cursed girl?" "Impossible," the prince guard said. "She was dead. We are sure of it." Before they could raise their weapon, a gust of wind swept through the ground beneath their feet, and their feet trembled. The torches flickered violently, and their spears snapped in half right before their eyes. Something unseen passed through them like a wave of judgment. Their knees buckled as they fell. Ifunanya didn't stop. She walked through the palace gate as the guards fell to the ground, staring at her in awe and fear. Inside the village square, people began to gather. One villager saw her first, then another. They whispered. They flew like birds and mouth to mouth. "She is alive! It's her! It's the girl!" "No, not a girl. She's a spirit." They all murmured in confusion, but Ifunanya said nothing. Her eyes were focused straight ahead. Inside the palace, Prince Obidike sat laughing with his friends, still bragging about how he handled the defiant girl yesterday. "She thought she could speak to me like that. A witch like her," he sneered. "I hope the forest spirits are feasting on her cursed bones by now." Just then, a guard burst into the hall, pale and shaking. My prince! She's here! She's here!" "Who?" Obidike backed, rising to his feet. The girl, Ifunanya." The prince's laughter died. He stood frozen for a moment, then slammed his goblet down, wine spilling on the floor. "Impossible!" He stomped out of the palace. Square, heart racing, only to see the crowd parting like water. And there she was, Ifunanya, alive, glowing, unshaken. A storm of silence fell over the people, her eyes locked with his. The prince felt something he hadn't felt in years before. Fear. She didn't speak to him. She didn't need to. Instead, she walked calmly to the center of the palace courtyard. There, she raised the staff. Then, boom! She struck the staff into the earth. The sound was like a thunder crackling the sky in half. Light exploded from the point of contact and shot through the ground like a lightning vein. It surged towards the palace walls, climbing the stones, wrapping around the gate, floating through the halls, and crashing into the throne room. Every dark charm, every blood sacrifice, every ancient spell protecting the king shattered like a glass. The king screamed from inside, falling off his throne. The prince stumbled backward, gripping his head. "No! What have you done?" he shouted. The villagers gasped as the king stumbled into view, his robes torn, eyes wide with horror. He opened his mouth, and then the truth began to pour out like a flood he could no longer control. I killed them," he wailed, collapsing to his knees. "I killed Ifunanya's father, her mother, her brother. The gods took the crown from me because of my wicked ways, and I had to steal it back with blood. The villagers cried in shock. No one cursed her. I cursed her. I made them believe she was evil so I could keep the throne. The people fell to their knees, weeping. Many covered their faces in shame. Some cried out of anger. Elders tore their garments. The prince screamed in fury, "Father, stop! Stop!" But the king could not stop. The staff had unsealed the truth. His soul was exposed. Ifunanya stood still, silent, tears streaming down her cheek. The same people who had once spat on her were now crying for her forgiveness. The same villagers who watched her flogged now bow before her. "She is the rightful queen," one elder cried. "She is the chosen one," another shouted. But she didn't raise her hands in triumph. She dropped to her knees and looked at the staff in the earth. For the first time, she felt the weight of her destiny and the pain of the past washing away. The wind danced around her. The spirits whispered her name. The people of Ozala stood in stone silence, their hearts heavy with guilt and awe. Out of nowhere, the chief priest Nkalago appeared again, walking slowly through the crowd. He stopped in front of Ifunanya, looked at her with eyes full of ancient wisdom. "My daughter," he said gently, lifting her to her feet. "The time of sorrow is over." He reached into his folds of robe and drew out something none had ever seen before, a crown. With both hands, Nkalago placed the crown on Ifunanya's head. "I, chief priest of the gods of Ozala, declare before all that you, Ifunanya, are the rightful queen of this land, chosen by the gods, defender of the people, and daughter of light." The villagers erupted in shouts of joy and tears of relief. "She is our queen! Long live the queen! Long live the queen!" they echoed. For the first time in Ozala land and long history, a woman ruled the land, not by force, but by truth and destiny. Drums began to beat. Women broke into dance. Old men clapped and chanted. Young children gathered flowers and tossed them in the air. The entire kingdom vibrated with life again. As the people celebrated, a sudden cry came from within the palace. "The king!" King Sisi collapsed in the throne room, eyes open but lifeless. By tradition, kings were buried in sacred ground, but not him. His body was dragged to the edge of the Adrofia, the evil forest, and thrown in without honor, as the spirit howled in anger and judgment. As for the prince and his mother, they were brought before the people. The villagers spat at the sight of them, but Ifunanya, with grace in her voice, did not demand blood. "Let them go," she said calmly, "but let them never return to Ozala kingdom ever again." And so it was declared. The prince and the queen were banished from Ozala forever, to wander the earth without name or home, a curse worse than death. From that day on, the kingdom flourished. Crops grew richer. Rain came when they should. Sickness disappeared from the land. The people no longer feared, they hoped. And at the very center of the palace courtyard, the sacred staff remained where Ifunanya had driven it into the earth. No one could remove it. It stood tall, glowing faintly under the moonlight, a reminder that truth must root in the heart of power. And Ifunanya, queen, she ruled with kindness. She never raised her hand in pride, nor closed her ears to the poor. She rebuilt every broken heart. She opened the palace gate to widows and orphans. And when the children of Ozala gathered at night to hear stories, they would sit wide-eyed as the elders told them, once upon a time, a girl called Cursed became queen. Because even when the world gave her nothing, she gave the world kindness. Thank you so much for watching. What did you learn from this story? Do well to comment on the comment section how you feel